Have you ever wondered if the creatures of legend, the ones we've been told are mere myths, could actually be real? What if I told you that mermaids, yes, mermaids, are not just a figment of human imagination but have roots deep in biblical history? Prepare to have your mind blown as we delve into one of the most astonishing, yet largely unknown, revelations from an ancient and sacred text, a missing book of the Bible that holds the key to understanding the true nature of these enigmatic beings. Let's start with the question that has puzzled humanity for centuries. How did so many cultures, separated by vast oceans and continents, come to share the same myth of mermaids, those mysterious, half-human, half-fish creatures who dwell in the deep? What if these stories aren't just fairy tales, but accounts of real encounters with beings that the Bible itself hints at? Stay with me, because the truth is stranger and more terrifying than fiction. Deep within the arid desert of Qumran, hidden away in a cave, lay a treasure trove of ancient texts that would shake the foundations of biblical scholarship. These are the Dead Sea Scrolls, a collection of 2,000-year-old manuscripts that include fragments of the Bible as we know it, but also texts that have been shrouded in secrecy for centuries. Among these scrolls was a book that was deliberately kept out of the Bible, a book so controversial it could change the way we see our world and our faith forever. This is the Book of Enoch, a text that provides startling details about the spiritual world, including the existence of creatures that sound remarkably like the mermaids of legend. Now, before you dismiss this as just another wild theory, consider this: Enoch, the author of this ancient text, is no minor figure in biblical history. He was the great-grandfather of Noah, the man chosen by God to survive the flood that wiped out nearly all life on earth. If Enoch had something to say, it was considered so important that it was written down and preserved alongside the sacred scriptures we know today. So why, you might ask, was this book excluded from the Bible? What truths does it hold that some might not want us to know? Let's dive into the Book of Enoch and uncover what it has to say about the origins of mermaids. According to this ancient text, there was a group of angels known as the Watchers. These angels were sent to earth to watch over humanity, but they fell from grace when they lusted after human women. The result of their forbidden unions was the birth of the Nephilim, giants who were neither fully human nor fully divine. But the consequences of these unions didn't stop there. The women who mated with these fallen angels were cursed, and their curse was to transform into creatures of the sea, what we now know as mermaids. Enoch 19:2 states it plainly: the women also of the angels who went astray shall become sirens. The term sirens here is critical. In ancient mythology, sirens were often depicted as part human, part bird. But over time, the word evolved to describe mermaids, creatures that lured sailors to their doom with their hypnotic songs. These aren't the beautiful, kind-hearted mermaids of Disney movies. No, these are cursed beings, born of sin, trapped in a monstrous form for all eternity. They are as terrifying as they are fascinating, a grim reminder of the consequences of defying divine law. But the story doesn't end there. The Bible itself hints at the existence of these beings, and the key lies in the often overlooked details. For instance, have you ever wondered why Revelation 21:1 tells us that in the new heaven and new earth, there was no longer any sea? Why would God create a world without oceans, unless those oceans harbored something unholy, something that should not be allowed to exist in the new creation? The answer might just lie in the mermaids, the demonic marine spirits that have roamed the waters since the days of the Great Flood. Think about it, mermaids, these aquatic humanoid creatures, would have naturally survived the flood. While the rest of the world perished, they thrived in their watery domain. This could explain the countless sightings of mermaids throughout history, encounters that have been dismissed as folklore but may be rooted in a dark and ancient truth. The oceans cover 71% of the Earth's surface, a vast and largely unexplored frontier where these beings could easily hide, emerging only when they choose, to remind humanity of the ancient curse that created them. And let's not forget the symbolic significance of water in the Bible. Water is often associated with chaos and danger. Think of the Red Sea, the Great Flood, or Jonah's encounter with the Leviathan. In Revelation, the sea is depicted as a place of turmoil, a realm where the dragon, a symbol of Satan, rises to wage war against God's people. It's not hard to see how mermaids, as creatures of the sea, could be linked to this same dark, chaotic energy. But what about the modern portrayal of mermaids as seductive, enchanting beings? Is it possible that this is part of the deception, a way to lure us into thinking they are harmless or even benevolent? Consider how many cultures have tales of mermaids who enchant men, leading them to their doom. This aligns perfectly with the idea of Sirens, creatures who use their beauty and song to hypnotize and destroy. Could it be that the modern image of the mermaid is a sanitized version of a far more sinister reality? Let's take a moment to reflect on the implications of this. If the Book of Enoch is correct, and mermaids are the cursed offspring of fallen angels and human women, then what does this say about the nature of our world? It suggests that there are forces at work beneath the surface, quite literally, that we barely understand. It challenges us to reconsider the boundaries between the natural and the supernatural, the seen and the unseen. And it also forces us to confront the reality of evil in a way that is deeply unsettling. We like to think of evil as something distant, something that belongs to the realm of myth and legend. But what if it's closer than we think? What if it's lurking just beneath the waves, waiting for the right moment to make itself known? For centuries, the oceans have been a place of mystery and fear. Sailors have reported seeing strange creatures, and entire ships have vanished without a trace. We chalk these up to natural phenomena or overactive imaginations. But what if there's something more? What if the mermaids of legend are real, and they are still out there, watching, waiting? And what if the omission of the Book of Enoch from the Bible was no accident? What if those in power knew the truth, but chose to hide it, fearing the chaos that such knowledge might unleash? The fact that this book was found alongside the other biblical texts, but was excluded from the canon, should make us question who decides what is true and what is not. It raises the possibility that there are other truths out there, hidden away because they are too dangerous, too disruptive. As we continue to explore these ancient mysteries, we must remain vigilant. The world is not as it seems, and the forces that shape it are more complex and more powerful than we can imagine. But we are not without hope. The same Bible that hints at the existence of these dark creatures also offers us a way to protect ourselves, a way to stand against the forces of darkness, no matter how deep they may dwell. So, the next time you hear a story about a mermaid or see a depiction of one in popular culture, remember what you've learned today. Remember that these beings are not just myths, but part of a much larger and more terrifying reality. And remember that, like the oceans themselves, there are depths to our world that we have yet to fully explore. As we uncover more of these hidden truths, we must ask ourselves what else has been kept from us. What other secrets lie buried in the sands of time, waiting to be discovered? The journey is far from over, and the truth is out there if we're brave enough to seek it. The first-hand accounts of these creatures prove these beings are demonic, to say the least. Many people who encounter these beings say they are demonic in nature because they lure people off their boats in the middle of the ocean. However, they apparently don't only inhabit the oceans, they inhabit other bodies of water as well, such as lakes and rivers. Mermaids are also known as marine spirits. Mermaids have been documented for thousands of years. There is even an ancient Egyptian painting that illustrates a war that happened between humans and mermaids. These creatures are described as having a frightening appearance and also possessing supernatural abilities, particularly hypnotism with their voices and also telepathy, which is the ability to communicate mentally without speaking. Most of the time, they are described as having all black eyes, razor-sharp teeth, gills in their face, and webbed fingers. These creatures sparked the folklore surrounding the swamp monsters. Now, let's take a look at some of my favorite first-hand accounts regarding these beings. There is a testimony that I find quite intriguing about a woman, who unfortunately I don't have the name of, encountering a mermaid, and she said it communicated with her telepathically and said something frightening. A woman was swimming in a lake while her family was off in the distance, cooking at a family event they were throwing. The woman said she got onto this rock near where she was swimming, and in her own words, everything went silent. All her family, the birds, the wind, everything went completely silent. And then she saw a mermaid with all black almond-shaped eyes emerge from the water and telepathically told her, "I can make you jump in the water." She said she began to get frightened, and then the mermaid looked dissatisfied and then swam away, vanishing into the depths. This is a very frightening encounter, considering the abundant amount of testimonies that have a similar story about these creatures making people jump into the depths, and for them never to be seen again. Other cultures believe if you see a mermaid, you'll become rich, and also there are places where people are believed to literally be taken by these creatures. My final take is that if these creatures have been documented for thousands of years up to now by several cultures worldwide, there is no way that this is just some myth. Let me know in the comments if you've ever encountered a mermaid. I would love to hear your stories. Thank you for watching.